Hi, Erin. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jensen. I'm from Best Buy. I lead our Best Buy ad sales and category marketing team. I'm so excited to speak to Erin today. We're going to talk a lot about brand building, integrating DEI into the core of your brand, and we're going to talk about Erin's amazing career journey. But to start, Erin, will you please introduce yourself and tell everyone a bit about Logitech for Creators?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Erin Chin, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Logitech for Creators. And Logitech for Creators is a brand extension of Logitech, and we're really focused on delivering solutions for digital content creators. So think about streamers, YouTubers, podcasters. We make both hardware and software tools. So hardware tools would be things like microphones, lights, and cameras. And on the software side, we have Streamlabs, which is basically the software that allows people to go live on streaming platforms. It's got about 3 million monthly active users. So lots of people are using it to go live, which is really awesome. And then, Logitech for Creators, we're all about serving creators, and we put them at the heart of every single thing that we do. We built a mission that is, I'd say, threefold. And the first one is, celebrating creators, of course, and providing them with the best tools and solutions to really help simplify their content creation process and allow them to create better. The second one is, about us building this really inclusive creator community that elevates all creators, whether, the creators that are just getting started or those that are, seasoned pros, and then partnering with creators to, collectively work to drive the change that we all want to see in the world.
Awesome. So a big part of what we're going to talk about today is your current role and your journey. But let's start with something easy, knowing that you work so much with content creators. What is a piece of content that you're loving right now, or a creator that you're really loving?
Hard to narrow down, but I can talk maybe about a few of the things that I'm looking at that, I love to look at and that inspire me. One of them is Andre Leroux. He is one of the members of our Change Council. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about that, but he's an incredible filmmaker. He's a DEI and mental health advocate and activist, and he makes some really amazing content. So check him out. I'm a huge foodie. Love food. And so I love to look at food content in all forms. The Hungry Friends is a good one. I love not only that they have food content, but they really have this kind of mantra of spreading kindness, which is great. I look at Humans of New York, which I love just to see the really super interesting personal stories. A fun one, Luxury Law, who's a celebrity stylist. I love him, love the fashion, and just his personality is really fun to watch. And then the Nap Ministry is a social account that I follow on Instagram. It's really kind of focused on self-advocacy, which I like, and sometimes need the reminder.
That's great. For me right now, I think Marquez Brownlee is someone who we have a partnership with, but his take on tech has been really fun, especially when you think of all the new products that are coming out. He's just super authentic and real. And I feel like there's TikTok running at my house constantly to teenagers. So there's always some new content that I'm seeing as well. So thank you for all of that insight.
Of course, okay, I love Marquez as well. We've worked with him too. He's incredible.
Marquez, yes, amazing. So let's just back up. So, you joined Logitech for Creators in November 2020 as the first CMO. So when we spoke last week, you mentioned that you were coming and you have to define this brand and the business. And from day one, you got to put that perspective out there. First, why was this opportunity so interesting, and what made you excited about it?
So many things. So Logitech for Creators didn't exist when I joined. I was joined to build this creator-centric brand. And what was there was a couple of brands that Logitech had acquired that did really serve creators. So Streamlabs, which I mentioned before, was one of them. Blue Microphones, another one. And it was really about how we kind of bring those brands that have been serving creators for years collectively to help bring them closer to Logitech so that they could help, kind of drive Logitech as an overall business to tap into this creator economy that was burgeoning and growing, and also, get, bring a more youthful consumer. And so I was brought in. It was an amazing challenge. As being a consumer of lots of content across many different platforms, I really liked the idea of how I could bring some of the experience that I had building lifestyle brands to this space. I have zero tech experience, and that was also a kind of a new and interesting challenge. And I was just really excited about kind of where I thought we could take this idea about serving creators, and really the opportunity to build it and build a team to get after it.
So let's talk a little bit about building a team, knowing that you're defining the brand and also having to build a team from scratch. How did you go about doing that and getting to this function that you needed to be able to really serve the creators in the way you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, so there were a lot of great people on the team that existed within the businesses of Blue and Streamlabs, and really just figuring out kind of like what people's where people's talents lie, where people's interests lie, and really kind of like getting to know everyone who was there, figuring out kind of what was covered in terms of the mission that, I had helped craft with my team and as we were building it, and then figure out where we have the opportunities and where we need to recruit people who had, a passion for building brands and a passion for doing good, and really subscribe to the mission that, I'd set out for Logitech for Creators. And so, the team culture means everything in terms of, the type of work that you ultimately do and how people work together. And so it was really important to take the time to get it right and make sure that not only were all the functional pieces covered, but we were building the right culture and bringing people on the team who shared the passion for the work that we needed to do.
Awesome. So you mentioned when we had our prep call that you wanted, the first thing you wanted to do as CMO was really focus on building the brand. Tell us a little bit more about that process and then how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, built an incredible team, which was invaluable in pulling all this together. And I think just the diversity in the team in terms of backgrounds and them understanding the creator landscape, many of them being creators themselves, I think that is always really important when you have this deep understanding of your consumer. And then we figured out, okay, trying to figure out like what is important to them and how can we connect with them as content creators? What are the roadblocks that they're facing? What are the challenges? And how can we help remove some of the friction in their processes, and meanwhile creating this community where we can welcome all creators and people want to be identified because they really feel connected to the community as much as they feel connected to the products and tools that we make. So it was super fun, and we worked to really define kind of 3 brand pillars that we were going to make everything center around. And the first one was creators. Of course, that's who we're here to serve, and we put them at the center of everything we do. They really are the heart and soul of our business. And thinking about how we serve them first and foremost made it really kind of helped shape a lot of the strategic decisions that we made. I mentioned building the community, and that was the second pillar. So figuring out what are the things in addition to the products that we make that can help creators want to identify with us, help them connect with us, and really us support that community with our resources. And then the last one is about change. We're big fans of alliteration, so that's why you see all of the C words to correspond with our mission of serving creators. But really, that one is about identifying and working with creators who can help us really drive, the change that we all want to see, whether that is, having more inclusivity, having more equity. And, I personally feel as a brand, and not just on this one, but in previous brands that I've worked with, that we have a real obligation to kind of help drive change and make the world a better place. We have incredible reach, we have voice, we have people who love many of these brands. And so why not use that for good, and to really kind of like harness that power to make a positive impact on the world.
Oh, I love that so much. I think we have some creative to share as well about the brand.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say, Erin?
Yeah, I mean, this is our anthem video. So it's called Together We Create, and that is really our brand mantra that's built upon the things that I've just shared. And so we wanted to really partner with creators to tell that story, as opposed to us telling it just ourselves. And so this is a look at our global vision of partnering with creators to deliver on the brand mission.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy King J, and today we are doing another stream. Hope you lot enjoy.
We are creators
from every corner of the globe,
armed with powerful tools
and connected by a burning passion to create.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us
as we raise our voices,
make incredible scenes,
and take control of our future
to make things better.
Better work,
Better play.
better life.
better balance.
Together, we'll grow.
by sharing what we know.
and cheering for each other's successes.
Because when one of us rises,
We all rise.
We all rise.
We all rise.
in this new world,
We'll be free to turn our dreams into realities.
And there's space here for everyone. Y hay espacio aquí para todos.
Il y a de la place ici pour tout le monde.
Logitech for creators. Together,
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 we create.
Oh, thanks for sharing that, Erin. That video is really incredible. It's inspiring, just the impact that you're having in the space. And when you talk about impact, I think this is a great moment to transition to talk about Creators for BIPOC initiative. I think you're in your third year. And as you mentioned to me on the call, you could talk about this for hours. And I know how inspired I was, because when you think about this ability to integrate this in as a strategic pillar into your brand and business, it's just really amazing to do. And we'd love just to understand a little bit more about the program, how it started, and where it's at today.
Yeah, of course. So Created for BIPOC, and for anyone who isn't familiar with the term BIPOC, it means Black, Indigenous people of color. It's a movement that basically encourages the creator community and everyone else to work collectively to address the barriers that Black, Indigenous, and people of color creators disproportionately face. So it was launched in June of 2020, and really this actually predates me. It was launched by our Streamlabs team as a 10-year, $1 million commitment to partner with nonprofits to really kind of address, the things that I mentioned, the issues that disproportionately face BIPOC creators. And it was, super successful. The idea is that Streamlabs has a charity streaming platform. So basically it allows creators, any creator, to select from a wide range of different charities and allow all of the tips and donations that happen during the stream to be donated to that charity instead of going to the creator itself. And Streamlabs is one of the only charity platforms, that doesn't take any cut of any of the donations. So all of the donations go directly to the charities. And so what happened was we made the donation, and we also kind of rallied the creator community who was streaming to raise funds, additional funds for BIPOC charities as part of this month of Creators for BIPOC, which happens in July every year. And we felt so great about, the results and the impact that we were making, that we decided to even keep building on it more and more each year. So in the second year, which was in 2021, we stepped up the funding. So it was $100,000 that we donated the first year. We took it up to over $250,000 for year two. And we worked with, Twitch to allow some of the charity streaming to happen by BIPOC creators on the Twitch front page, to get them a lot of, recognition for themselves as creators, and allow them to build and grow their audiences while streaming for a great cause, of course. And then we also had an additional component, beyond just kind of recognizing BIPOC creators. We also had this idea. So I had read an article in Business Insider about this gentleman named Jaquel Knight, who is a choreographer. And I had read an article about how he had copyrighted his dance, his choreography for Beyonce's Single Ladies. And he was the first kind of choreographer to do something like that. And we got the idea that it's so important for creators, especially to get credit where it's due. And I was so inspired by a story that we reached out to him and, immediately had like a melding of minds in terms of just being so on the same page in terms of our purpose and wanting to uplift creators, and him wanting to, make sure that creators and choreographers were getting credit for their work. So we partnered with him to help 10 choreographers copyright their work. And it was actually such an interesting time to do this work. About a month after we started talking to him, there was a TikTok strike with Black creators because they were really just frustrated that they were making all of these amazing dances that were going viral, but they weren't getting the credit because bigger, often non-BIPOC creators would copy the dances, and then they'd have huge audiences, and then people would think that they were the ones who made them up. And so it was a bit of a cultural moment that it happened simultaneous to us doing this, but I think it really continued to shine a light on the need for making sure that people get credit where it's due. And then this year, for year 3 of Creators for BIPOC, again, really wanted to make it, while the month of July has been the focus, we really wanted to kind of figure out how we can partner with creators and make it even more creator-centric to make sure that we're driving this really important message throughout the year. So we created what we call our Change Council, which is 5 creators that represent a wide range of identities. So we have, a Turkish American Muslim gaming and anime creator named Aru. We have Andre Leroux, which I mentioned before, Anxiety, who's a mental health advocate and motivational creator, and also a member of the LGBTQ+ community. We've got Nicotine, who's a Latinx trans gaming video creator, and Snowlit, who's a Chinese American game streamer and variety streamer, and also a cat mom. And we partner with them to kind of help guide us and counsel us on the type of things that we can be doing to make an impact, because they have audiences and they also have their own missions, and really partnering with them to make it more of a full year, broader initiative has been really, really impactful as well.
Erin, there's so much in there that should be so exciting to so many, especially when you just think of the fact of being able to get credit for what they're doing. I mean, that's just an amazing, amazing feat in itself of owning that, taking that back, I think is the way you called it when we talked on the phone. I think there is a little bit more, we have a video to share about this amazing work. Is there anything else you want to add before we share it, Erin?
Yeah, I think it does really speak for itself, but just super quickly, what we're going to show is it's a beautiful film that we made with Andre. And it really speaks to the need and maybe even perhaps the urgency for driving recognition, representation, and resources for BIPOC creators. And I think, as I mentioned, that's the premise for upon which Creators for BIPOC was created. And, we feel really lucky and honored to be able to partner with these creators to share these really important messages. So we can roll it.
My name is Makeda Sanford, and I tell complex stories. What I would say to other Black and Brown creatives that are searching for their voice is to remember the why. Remember why you wrote it, remember why you're doing it, and always give yourself and your gratitude back to those moments to feel warm again, to feel like you can do anything you want, create your own reality.
My name is Justin J. Wee, and I create work that envisions the world that I never got to see. As minoritized people, we are taught that there is a finite amount of oxygen in the room for us, and so in order for us to take up space, we have to be the smartest, the funniest, the prettiest. Our success is contingent upon someone else's failure. that is a pattern of thinking that I had to disentangle my brain from. And I was able to do that through the example of my friends as I saw them hold and create space for me. And that's something that I feel immense gratitude for.
Support for Black and brown artists has to be consistent and unconditional. Imagine you have a destination you need to get to. You can take the highway or you can take surface roads. On the highway, it's open road. You just need to get from point A to point B. There might be traffic, but for the most part, all you're doing is driving. If you take a local road, there could be potholes, there's stop signs, and you run out of gas quicker. The simple time of the trip exponentially grows and compounds itself if the distance you're traveling is further. This is what life is like creating art as a Black and brown visual artist. It can be exhausting just trying to get to the next point that seems close, but there are so many pitfalls along the way. That's why the support has to be consistent and important to help break down that compounded interest of the effort it takes to get where you need to go and make what you need to create.
Thank you for taking us through that. I think it is so inspiring, and I think there's just so much breaking down the barriers and all the things that this is able to do is really amazing. So I listened to a podcast you recently spoke on, and you spoke about your Soundbreaker Awards, and there was some, big accessibility wins that came out of this work as well. Will you first share kind of what the Soundbreaker Awards are, but then also speak to what you and your team did that was different this year for those awards?
Yeah, so the team, my team, had this incredible idea. This was, I guess, 2021, leading up to the Grammys. They noticed that how many of the Grammy Award nominations for songs were songs that had really gone viral on TikTok, and how that, the TikTok creators themselves had such a role in driving the popularity of these songs. But at the Grammys, of course, the artists and the producers and all of the many other people who are involved with the music were getting recognized on Music's Biggest Night, but no one was really thinking about the creators who had kind of really helped catapult these songs to success. So, in our, with our mission of celebrating creators, the team came up with an incredible idea about creating an award show specifically for the creators on the eve of the Grammys to really celebrate what their contribution has been to music culture. And we had a super successful year one. We did it on TikTok, and it was just a fun show that really celebrated the creators, first and foremost, and let them know that we were thinking about them. There was a bunch of, big creators that showed up, and they were so honored, honestly, to be recognized, because they had never been recognized in that way. And it was really, really, kind of fun and heartwarming to see. Year two, of course, because we like to take things to the next level, the team had an incredible idea about bringing the Soundbreaker Awards to the metaverse. And so we partnered with Roblox and brought to life the first award show in the metaverse. We had, performances from Lizzo, and it was her metaverse debut, and Gail singing, some of their very super important and popular songs. And it was, an incredible success. We had almost 7 people come in and experience it with us. We had more than 2 billion earned impressions. And so while it was also this kind of hour-long show, for the days leading up to it, we created a more traditional kind of Roblox game experience that gave people the opportunity to come in and see some of our products in kind of gamified ways, and really kind of explore this wonderland of Logitech for creators, which was super cool and so much fun. And then to your point about the way it kind of unlocked new experiences and made it, especially from an accessibility angle, we were so maybe one of the best and most heartwarming results that we saw was a social post from a gentleman named Bradley Heaven, who has quadriplegic cerebral palsy, and he posted about how he's not able to use his arms or legs to walk. He's in a wheelchair. He has technology tools that allow him to do things by using his eye movement. It tracks his eye movement because he's not able to use a traditional keyboard or mouse. But he posted saying that he had the most amazing experience at our Soundbreaker Awards. He hasn't really been able to attend a concert like that. And even if he was able to go, he didn't have to think about things like, is there going to be a wheelchair ramp? Or are there going to be accessible restrooms? And who can accompany him? And can that person make it? And he was able to really have this amazing, immersive, experience because of the way that we brought it together and allowed for that accessibility to come through and really kind of work for all types of people. And that's one of the things that, like I said, I'm personally most proud of.
Yeah, it is incredible. It's an incredible story. And I'm sure everyone, that's listening is really thinking about just how amazing this work is. I know when you and I first met and they continue to be able to listen to your podcast and things like that, it's incredible to be able to have what you're building at a company like Logitech. And I think so often we all want to be authentically purpose-driven. So when you think about, is there advice that you'd give to those that are wondering how they can do what you are able to do with Logitech creators in their own companies?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say and you probably can tell, it's fundamentally part of, or even the homework of our strategy. It's not like we have a brand strategy and then a social or purpose-driven strategy, or it's really they can't be decoupled. And I think that is, I think the biggest piece of advice is it can't be an add-on or a tack-on or something that is, not even an afterthought, but it really needs to be fully integrated and interwoven and really drive the brand strategy to a degree. And then, we talked a lot about team. I think you have to have a team that is also passionate about it and believes in it as not only a good thing to do because it feels good to, kind of drive change in the world, but because it makes business sense and how it, increasingly and more than ever, consumers gravitate towards brands that they can connect with and identify with, and that they appreciate, the things in the work that they're doing. People, they vote with their wallets and they want to support brands that are doing good in the world. And I think having a team that understands that and that, markets in that way, and has it first and foremost, I think is really important. And then I have to say, there's elements of luck and happenstance as well. Logitech as a company is a very values-based company, and they support it, and they give me and my team the runway and encourage us to drive this for Logitech for Creators, because the company more broadly has a mission of improving sustainability and focusing on DEI. And so I think and they also believe that building brands in the right way with the impact is it allows to build brand equity and is good for business. So I think part of it is the circumstance and the culture of the company, but also how much you make it your mission and let it drive the strategy, I think are the things I'd say there.
Well, thanks, Erin. That's great advice. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about you. Erin has a really dynamic background. I think I compared because my whole career's been at Best Buy. And so I got a little, I was excited just to see the breadth that she has in her background. So obviously she's been at Logitech for Creators since November 2020, but then she also started in finance at Goldman Sachs, then was at MTV and Viacom. She was at several different spirit brands, and then was at Mountain Dew, and now in her current role in technology. So I'd love just to hear any differences between all of those roles, obviously very different areas, but then how did you approach those roles? Any big lessons you learned along the way? I mean, it is such an amazing career journey to get you to where you are. Love any, big ahas as you had through your career journey so far.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I'd say maybe, so I think the differences are stark because of just different industries and kind of learning the products. But I'd say there's so many similarities, which is interesting, even though you might think like, whoa, finance, Goldman Sachs to, beverages, alcohol and non-alcohol, and then tech. But really, I'd say, I think the thread is that I've always had this really deep interest in culture. So, music, entertainment, beauty, style, fashion, all of those things, I've always really gravitated towards. And so, even at Goldman Sachs, when I was doing investment banking, finance functionally, but, requested the media and entertainment group. So I was working on big media and entertainment clients. And that's kind of like how I was exposed really to media and entertainment. And that's how I was able to parlay it into my role at MTV Networks. And then, on the more brand marketing side, because, I also have done different functions. While I was at Goldman Sachs, like I said, it was a finance role. I was a finance major in college. My MTV work was international strategies. It was about growing those brands in culture in other markets. And then once I transitioned to brand, it was much, that was all marketing and brand building. But even something from like, 1800 Tequila and Mountain Dew, thinking about how to steep those brands in culture and figure out what are the cultural pillars or ways to connect with consumers. Like that is very similar to the work that I'm doing with creators at Logitech, even though tech and beverages probably couldn't be more different products. The philosophy about how to put consumers at the center and how to tap into them and show up where they are like big kind of similarities and lessons. And so I think across industries, I've been able to build a bit of a playbook for, lifestyle brand building and building brands and culture that I've been able to apply across industries, which has been both really fun and really interesting. And, it feels good because I have this like, this kind of like momentum of connecting with consumers and building brands and culture. And, I think part of that is being ruthlessly consumer centric. I think that's probably the key piece of the quote unquote playbook, understanding what's most important to your consumers, aligning your brand purpose and your marketing, strategy and activities to that. And then also, like I said, showing up where your consumers are is super important as well.
Thanks, Erin. You're also, because your job's not big enough, you're also on 2 boards. So talk a little, I think one's a specialty retailer and then a nonprofit. So if you want to talk about either of those, and then also just like, how does those experience help impact, what you do as a marketer and for your team and personally as well?
Yeah, so I'll talk about both just super briefly. Tilly's, I joined the board last year and having so much fun. It's a, really fun, cool fashion retailer that primarily serves a Gen Z audience. And, for me, as I mentioned, I'm interested in fashion and, it helps, youth be able to express themselves with cool, with clothes and accessories. And I love that. And, I think one of the interesting things about this is it allows me to kind of have like a little peek into youth culture through a different lens that I use every day in my operating role at Logitech. And the story of Tilly's is just so interesting, inspirational, and incredible, honestly. The founder, Hazy Shaked, along with his wife, who's named Tilly, they started selling clothes at a local swap meet in California. And through that, they were able to save up enough money to buy their first retail store in the early 80s. And now today, there's more than 200 stores across the country, which is so, like I said, inspirational to, to see how to think about how you can like take your passion and build your business in that way. And then also, because as I mentioned, I'm so passionate about, mixing business and making an impact on the world. Tilly's has some really great programs that they do. They have the Tilly's Life Center, which has a mission of like spreading, positive thinking to young people. And they work in schools a lot with this initiative called We Care, which really kind of supports a lot of like academic, art, and athletic programs at schools and universities. So that's really cool and fun to see. And then the other board that I'm on is for a nonprofit called Be Strong. And it's an amazing organization, really focused on saving and improving the lives of youth they use this peer-to-peer approach for strengthening mental, emotional, and relational health, while also building resilience and preventing bullying. And, it was founded in 2012 by a family who was facing a crisis as their own child was severely affected by bullying, which led to anxiety and depression and unfortunately suicidal thoughts. And they entered him into a facility where the approach was about this kind of resilience and social emotional skill training. And they were super inspired to start Be Strong after realizing just how pervasive the issue was across, the country and really the world with teens and bullying. And I came across the organization because the amazing CEO, Ashley Cromer, she reached out to me while I was at Mountain Dew. And I was we initially, immediately connected. And I was just so impressed by the work that team was doing. And honestly, it really spoke to me personally. I'm a mom of 2 young boys. And my oldest just started middle school. So I'm really getting into the point now where I'm really making sure that, my son has the skills and tools and resources to advocate for himself and, build healthy relationships. But I was just inspired by all of that. And I immediately wanted to help. So I worked with Ashley and her team to create a program, honestly, that was aligned with the purpose of Mountain Dew, that I had just built this kind of purposeful positioning that was not only brand purpose, but what is the brand's role in society? And it had just come off that work, and Ashley reached out and I was like, absolutely, yes, let's do it. So we ended up creating a program that was really instrumental in recruiting the peer mentors for the Be Strong, because it's a peer, like I said, it's a peer organization. So we were able to help fund some of the recruiting of peers, and we did some Facebook programming and reaching out to parents and to nominate their kids, and we were able to exponentially grow the peer mentors from about a little over 500 nationwide to over 2,300. So super proud of that. And like I mentioned, these are both youth oriented organizations, and in addition to many creators, including my 11 and 9-year-old sons many children, including my 11 and 9-year-old sons wanting to be creators. It's a youthful kind of profession. Of course it spans the gamut, but with so many young people looking up to creators, I love just having the ability to keep my finger on the pulse and what's happening with youth culture. I love the fact that these are, deeply mission-based organizations that are focused on doing good, which, as you can probably tell, is a big passion of mine. And also it allows me to, exercise my muscles in different ways, because of the purview is much broader than just marketing, where I tend to focus in my operating role.
Oh, well, Erin, you are really incredible, honestly, everything that you do and what we're able to learn today. So thank you. There was one question. I think we might have a minute here left. They would love for you to spend a bit more time. Would you be able to touch a bit on how you work with creator-based platforms like TikTok and YouTube? Specifically, do you partner with these platforms to drive scale for your creator-focused content?
So yes, we partner with platforms across, we have media partnerships where we, use it to drive awareness among creators. We also partner, as I mentioned, to drive kind of recognition and awareness for creators, like I mentioned with Twitch, with the Creators for Bypoc initiative, getting, front page placement, which means tons of eyeballs for creators for that big initiative. I think and we work with Twitch quite a lot, especially a lot on the Streamlabs side, of course, meaning given that it's a streaming platform and Streamlabs really is kind of a conduit to going live. So we work with platforms in tons of different ways, sometimes directly with creators, sometimes just directly with the platforms. It's really a case-by-case basis, but we realize how, you know, important the platforms are in many instances to give creators an audience and for them to build their audiences on the platforms, and also for them to be able to monetize and you know, create their, you know, turn their passions into profits, as oftentimes, you know, businesses of one. We didn't talk about kind of the democratization of content and how, you know, it used to be just a few kind of Hollywood studios that made all the content, and now there's millions and millions and millions of individuals, almost like, you know, businesses of one or very few, who are powering most of the content that everyone is watching today. So they're very important, and making sure that, you know, the creator economy is set up in a way to help support them to be able to make a living doing what it is that they love.
Awesome. Well, I think we are at time. Thank you, Erin. It was so fun to spend the time with you. It went way too fast. Thank you for sharing your story.
Awesome. Thank you. And thanks for having me, Brain Innovators. Thank you,
Yes,
Jen.
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
It was awesome. Thank you. And the one time that my cat doesn't try and get on camera was talking about cat people. I'm very disappointed in him wherever he is hiding today.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you both so much. It was a great chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.